Welcome. Welcome, everybody, to Innovate Edmonton. We are so pleased to convene everyone here today in Alberta's capital city to celebrate the official funding launch of our new technology accelerators. Please join me in acknowledging that we are gathered on traditional Treaty 6 territories of the Cree, the Dene, the Blackfoot, Saulteaux, Nakota Sioux, and Métis. At Innovate Edmonton, we are committed to empowering Indigenous innovation in the spirit of reconciliation, and I am grateful for what we can learn about innovating with purpose. Today, with the launch of 4 new accelerators, we are changing the game for startups and scale-ups in Edmonton, across the province, and internationally. Here at Innovate Edmonton, we believe that innovation is a big tent and welcoming to all. Edmonton is home to tech entrepreneurs, to cultural innovators, to social innovators, Indigenous innovators, and as one team, we are ready to take on the world. We are ready to tackle some of the world's most pressing problems, including the climate emergency, public health, food security, digital inclusion, and social justice. This work also amps up our local economy. It opens international markets and attracts enlightened investors. And these new accelerators will help us position Edmonton on the global stage. Because the world needs what Edmonton offers, this passionate and vibrant community committed to sustainability, to diversity, and to inclusion. At Innovate Edmonton, we provide programs to scale-up companies, innovation placemaking for our city, and funding for these new accelerators. To use an analogy from my digital background, we're really building an ecosystem like creating a four-sided marketplace for companies, for investors, for governments, and for residents. We connect companies with city assets and connect our city to homegrown innovations for sustainable urban development. And this, in turn, attracts high-impact investment to Alberta. With the launch of our new Accelerate Edmonton team, we will ensure that high-potential companies have what they need to compete on the world stage in today's impact economy, and that global accelerators with an Edmonton footprint have everything they need to make an impact on the home front. We're also collaborating with our partners at Platform Calgary to launch Alberta's Pre-accelerator for very early stage founders. You know, to be perfectly frank, looking back myself as a scrappy tech entrepreneur living in other cities, I wish that I'd had even a fraction of what Alberta offers in terms of resources today. As I steeplechase companies through everything from raising capital to going public and from commercialization to international sales, this generosity and support is really going to be the making of our province and our country. Everyone here appreciates that starting and scaling a business is a difficult and risky pursuit. But together, we will ensure that Alberta innovators are not alone. And with Edmonton just named North America's fastest growing tech sector, we are in good company. Entrepreneurship, collaboration, calculated risk-taking is in our community's DNA, and we are here for it, for founders, accelerators, funders, every step of the way. And finally, innovation is a team pursuit, and we are incredibly honored to be part of this innovation funding team, which includes the City of Edmonton, Alberta Innovates, Prairies Can, and OSIF to bring global accelerators into the heart of our downtown and to the doorsteps of our Alberta entrepreneurs. And with that, it is now my great pleasure to welcome Minister Schweitzer to the microphone. Minister.
for those viewing at home, there's hand sanitizer off camera. I've had some fun with hand sanitizer in my time in politics. Just really want to say how exciting this day is to be here in Alberta and to see the development and growth of the technology and innovation space across our province. When you take a look at the Canadian Venture Capital Association's reports on how our province has grown to attract venture capital, to create companies, for the third year in a row, we've broken a record, our own Alberta record. Now, going back to 2018, we had $100 million of venture capital. 2019, it went up to $220 million. 2020, we broke our record by doubling again to $455 million of venture capital investment. And just in the first 3 quarters of this year alone, we're at $480 million, breaking our record again for the province. And this last quarter, the last 3 months have yet to be reported. And there have been a lot of deals announced in this last quarter so far, and hopefully we get more done before the end of the year. So it's just exciting to see the job opportunities that are happening here, the diversification that's happening in Alberta's economy. And I have to kind of reflect back for when I started in this role a year and a half ago, where Alberta's technology and innovation space was. You saw all of these entrepreneurs saying, we want to be recognized. We know that we can take on the world. We know that we're top flight, and we want to make sure that the next generation has the same opportunities as well and more opportunities going ahead. And that's where the genesis of this idea of providing in partnership here with the City of Edmonton, the City of Calgary through its OSIF fund, Innovate Edmonton, as well as with Prairie Can, to bring this forward here today. Because a lot of people don't know the work that goes into these startups. Just talking with Terry Rock at Platform Calgary before we came on here, you talk to these early stage companies, literally it's an idea. You got 1 or 2 people, they've got an idea for what their company can become. And with that mentorship, you can accelerate their growth. Because a company can go from 10 or 15 employees one year to 100 the next year to 300 the year after that. Then they can get to the jobber size where they're going to probably push well north of 1,000 here in the next little while. So it's exciting to see the development of this industry. Not only are we having an immense amount of success in Alberta, you have companies like Jobber in Edmonton, you've got Bitcoin Well, you have Benevity becoming a unicorn this last year. But on top of that, you're having national and international companies recognize Alberta as a place where they need to be and to invest. We saw Amazon recently with Amazon Web Service make it the largest technology investment in Alberta's history into our province. We're seeing an immense amount of interest from companies like Infosys and Emphasis, big global players. We're seeing interest like that as well into the Edmonton capital region, so hopefully we can close a few of those investment opportunities and growth opportunities as well here in the near future. So huge growth potential here for Alberta. And again, I'm going to leave some of the details to my colleagues here today for the different announcement, but these 4 accelerators that we're investing in, we announced a couple of weeks ago the partnership with Plug and Play for both Edmonton and Calgary offices. We're going to see here today with the partnership with 500 Global, as well as there's a name competition as well. There's the Pre-accelerator for Platform Calgary and Innovate Edmonton, the partnership that's happening there. There's going to be a fun name competition, so get your ideas out there for what it should be called. I'll let Terry Rock give you the details on how to potentially bring that out there, but there's a fun name competition going for that right now. But the other one that's really exciting, and you'll hear about it a little bit more here, is the Community Safety and Wellness Accelerator that's powered by Alchemist. This is really exciting because innovation is happening in all parts of our life. And you see this from anything from the financial technology sector, so fintech, to social wellness, healthcare, as well as in the conventional clean technology space that we're well versed on in Alberta. There's lots of areas for growth here, disruption, opportunity for the next generation. And that's really, when you look at the political landscape and why people like myself decided to run for politics, is because you want to make sure that the next generation had opportunities that many of us had growing up in Alberta in their professional lives. And it's the innovation and technology sector that leads to those opportunities for that next generation. Everything that people talk about the 4th Industrial Revolution and the disruption that's going to happen going forward. You already see that growing scale of disruption happening around the world in innovation of artificial intelligence, machine learning. And this is about making sure Alberta continues to have a bright economic future. We're forecasted right now to lead the country in growth this year. Next year's looking promising as well. But it's diversified. We've talked about this for decades in Alberta. But this time around, when we're talking about this rebound, there's true diversification happening in Alberta's economy. And it's investments like this in these accelerator programs that are going to help that next generation of entrepreneurs take on the world and be successful. So thank you so much to all of the partners, all of the people that put in the time to review these applications, go through this, and get to this point today. It takes an immense amount of work. So a huge thank you to everyone that was involved in this project to get us here today. Laura Kilcrease and the team at Alberta Innovates, your leadership, as well as all of our partners at all levels of government. So thank you so much, and I'll turn it over to our next speaker.
Thank you, Minister. Next, I call upon Edmonton City Councillor and my friend, Karen Tang. Karen, welcome.
Well, good morning, everyone. And hello, and thank you for having me here today on Misquitchie, Waskakian, Treaty 6 territory. Some of you might know that this tech innovation community has a special place in my heart, so I'm especially excited to be here on behalf of City Council to represent the City of Edmonton at this significant announcement. The City of Edmonton is very proud to partner with Innovate Edmonton and many other partners. The City Council approved $5 million, as many of you know, in funding for Innovate Edmonton back in April to allocate to technology accelerators. And we're excited that we're leveraging this funding in a much bigger Alberta-wide vision to strengthen both startups of new businesses and scale-ups of existing ones. The city is providing this support because we are committed to helping build a vibrant and prosperous Edmonton. This investment is part of the City of Edmonton's bold economic action plan to create more jobs and businesses and to attract more investment. We are a city of entrepreneurs and change agents, innovators and students, employers and dreamers. And I know this because as a public health advocate, a community organizer, a city builder, an angel investor, and now a city councillor, I have met so many Edmontonians, so many entrepreneurs doing incredible things for the city. The Edmonton Accelerator program will support the growth of made in Edmonton technologies, as well as innovation and research. The ripple effects of this investment will help diversify our economy and create good jobs for Edmontonians today and in the future. It will help bring students here and encourage them to stay when they graduate. It will attract new investment and businesses. And in short, this investment will help ensure that Edmontonians will have opportunities to thrive in our community. And so I want to thank Innovate Edmonton for their work to support entrepreneurs in our city. I want to share my gratitude for both the federal and provincial governments for joining us in support of this important work. The collaboration between all three levels of government on this program will amplify economic development and create a bigger impact, helping ensure that no one in our city is left behind. And with all the people at the table, with all the partners at the table, this is what collaboration looks like. And I'm excited to build great things with everyone here. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Councillor Tang. Well said. And now the visionary behind everything that we're announcing today. It's a great pleasure to welcome Laura Kilcrease, CEO of Alberta Innovates.
Well, Catherine, you're very kind, but I have to say the visionaries are the team of people at Alberta Innovates and all of you who've come together in partnership. No one of us can make this happen. It's all of us together that make this happen. And so I want to thank all those people. I'm going to do it in more detail, but I want to say to you, there is no secret in the world that innovation economies not only create highly skilled jobs, high wages, more productivity, great exports, and are generally more sought after as places to live. So I want you all to look around in your environments, wherever you are and wherever you're seeing this message today. Because if you're in Alberta, you have that here. If you are not yet in Alberta, we welcome you in very, very soon. Come call us. Because we want you and everyone else here to do very well. We want to do so through these accelerators in not just new and emerging companies, but taking those very early companies and being able to scale them to valuations over 100 million. And Minister, you're right. We have one unicorn of late, but we're going to have a lot more coming out through this program. And I will wager a bet with anyone that as we look back 5 years from now or 3 years from now, you'll know who those unicorns are. But everyone will do well. So Alberta's tech businesses need more of the pre-acceleration. They need more of the scale-up. So with the help of Minister Schweitzer, we launched the Scale-Up and Growth Accelerator program in March of this year. We went through extensive due diligence, and from that due diligence chose the accelerators that we are mentioning today. This will give us a critical mass of new ventures in the province and growing ventures in the province. They, as you've heard, these companies will create jobs, they will create GDP, they will create value. I want to name those accelerators again because they cannot be named too often in this announcement today. First, the Alberta Accelerator by 500. That global accelerator, absolutely needed. Plug and Play Alberta, community safety and wellness powered by the Alchemist, and the shortly to be named Alberta Pre-accelerator with Platform Calgary and Innovate Edmonton. These are powerful organizations. Powerful not just because of what they do, but because of the opportunities they will bring to the participants in their program. You know, we're happy to say that those opportunities include access to investment, access to knowledge, access to new customers, all kinds of things that will help them grow faster. But again, not possible without all of us working together. And for that, I'm very thankful to the Government of Alberta, Minister Schweitzer, to Prairies Can Development, who have worked with us on this, to Opportunity Calgary Investment Fund and the City of Calgary, and to Innovate Edmonton and the City of Edmonton. These partners together are investing initially over $35 million to make this possible. And I think you'll find that the return on investment that will come out of here will make that $35 million seem like a drip in the ocean once we get to see the success of the oceans of new companies and new opportunities we're building. You know, the investments in these accelerators will really transform our innovation ecosystem, not because it's not in an upward movement mode today, but because we're accelerating that upward movement in our ecosystem. Because we have other parts of the ecosystem that are also doing well. We're enhancing what's available. So in my world, when we combine great people, called talent, with great technology, called innovation, with great capital, called money, and finally with the know-how and expertise we have together, I think you'll find no one in the world will be stopping us. So I invite you all to join us. If you want to be on this fast train as it leaves the station and the success we're going to see in this province and lead Canada in, please join us. Your help is needed, your support is needed, and we thank you for what you're going to do for these companies. Thanks.
Thank you, Laura. You know, Laura spoke about teamwork, and the next guest up to the podium is part of the accelerator team for very early stage companies that we call the Alberta Pre-accelerator. My colleague, Dr. Terry Rock, who's going to share about innovation up and down this corridor that we are building together with two fantastic teams from Calgary and from Edmonton. Dr. Terry Rock, thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. Well, it's a great pleasure to have ventured up the Alberta Innovation Corridor from Calgary today to be here with you. The last provincial budget set some really big goals for how Alberta can grow its tech sector. And when we saw that, for us, Catherine and I, it was truly an all-in moment. We've been working together. I would argue that Alberta is one of the most collaborative innovation ecosystems in the country already. We had been doing some work to build an Alberta innovation corridor between the two big cities because we think that as concentrations of talent and capital and global headquarters and global connectivity through our airports, that the two big cities really do need to step up, and this province needs the two big cities to be working together strongly. And so we made that commitment in an unprecedented way to realign and harmonize our programs to best serve anyone in Alberta that wants to build a high-growth tech company. So our approach is truly pan-Alberta, with two big city organizations that are funded by their cities to do this work, to be right squarely in the pre-accelerator space, which means those people that are really raw, they have great ideas, they have talent, they've started to do the work, they've committed to quit what else they're doing and to do this full time. And then we get them ready because we got global players in town, and we want to make sure that they're able to work with the best that Alberta has to offer. So by putting the Alberta Pre-accelerator in place, we start with 180 companies a year that have the opportunity to figure out that early stage. We move then to a second phase, which serves 90, finally 40. So you can see the number of new opportunities that we're going to be creating together. Another really important feature of this program is diversity and inclusion. We're absolutely committed to taking the best practices that we've been working on in our two cities for years, sharing them with each other, and making sure that a founder from any background, from any community, has mentorship that reflects who they are and can take them through that entire process of building their company. This is fundamental to where we need to go as a province. And we know by working with colleagues, not just between the two big cities, but the Alberta Regional Innovation Network, which covers all of the regions of the province, that there are fantastic programs out there that we can then scale out through this realignment of our programming. At the end of the day, at this pre-acceleration space, there are important concepts that people need to understand so they can really thrive when they get into that global accelerator program. They can really take advantage of the resources that are there and the connections that are there. And we've got experience doing that. Just tomorrow morning, it's Innovation Week in Calgary right now. Tomorrow morning, we'll be celebrating our founder showcase with about 22 startups that have been gone through our pre-acceleration program that exists. 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, we started that program, and just in this past quarter, we've had 3 companies raise multiple $million-dollar seed rounds. That's what pre-acceleration does. It takes about 2 years to get there. To conclude, I want to thank all of the funders that have put this program together. In particular, Alberta Innovates, which I think has been stitching together an integrated innovation ecosystem in the province that means that you got a great idea, you're an Albertan, the support is there for you, a community is there for you, and we're going to take you out and take you global. So finally, go to albertapreaccelerator.com and help us find a name for our new baby. You know, we've been already recruiting. There are 63 companies that have raised their hand that want to be part of this program already from all over the province. And we have over 80 submissions for the name. It's not too late. We're going to be on the ground in January with programming. We're super excited, and we hope everyone can join us. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Terry. And if you're watching on our live stream from anywhere in the world, we also want you to know that you can apply to be in these accelerators and to join this incredible community. And to the accelerator friends that we have built from down south, I would like to wish you all a very happy American Thanksgiving. And now for our final speaker, Ashif Maji, Chair of the Community Safety and Wellness Accelerator, a pioneering social justice accelerator located right here in Edmonton. Ashif.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, distinguished guests. It's quite an honor for me to be here representing the Community Safety and Wellness Accelerator. I want to start by first telling you how excited I was when I heard about this project, because I'm a serial entrepreneur, have built and scaled various businesses, and I'll tell you, if I had an accelerator when I was going through that in Alberta, it would have been incredible. Okay, so this is a missing ingredient that is the foundation of entrepreneurship, and I'm really proud that the government brought this to action, and Laura especially, working with Alberta Innovates, doing the RFP, doing the research. This is a really key thing, and I can tell you, it's going to just launch Alberta into the stratosphere. The tech that we have already right now, it'll grow so much faster. So thank you very much for doing that. Speaking again as an entrepreneur from experience, there are several key ingredients entrepreneurs need. They need data, they need domain expertise, they need funding, they need mentorship, they need structured programming. They need all of those things, their first customer, their first paying customer, to be successful. Well, guess what? We have put all of that together in the Community Safety and Wellness Accelerator. So we've got the data, we've got the domain expertise. Agencies like Boyle and Bissell, they're all partners. These agencies that work with homelessness, with addictions, mental health, domestic violence. All of those things are issues that we have not just in Edmonton, but in every city around North America and arguably the world. Now, what have we done in the past? We've put funding, we've put resources. Have we brought entrepreneurship to that? And I would say, no, we haven't. This is our chance. So we're going to bring in entrepreneurs. We're going to give them all that data. We're going to pair them with the best talent with artificial intelligence and machine learning, which, as you all know, Alberta has a tremendous amount of. So we're going to give them all those ingredients, give them a problem statement, give them that funding, and allow them to really use a structured programming. We partnered with Alchemist. For those that don't know, Alchemist is based out of the Valley, out of San Francisco, ranked #1 by Forbes in the world, the #1 accelerator. When I first pitched this to them, and I said, this is what we're doing, it's a social impact, it was on a Sunday, it was with Rachel, their partner, and we had booked an hour. In 15 minutes, she said, "Chief, sold, we're in. We're going to come with you." Because they want to do this. This has not been done anywhere in the world. So we're going to be the first to do it, and I know we're going to be successful. ESG, as you've heard, is an acronym that is not just being used, wishy-washy, if you will. The people and organizations are really focused on it. But more importantly, talent is. See, if I look at the new grads that are coming out of our universities, what are they interested in? They're interested, obviously, in boosting their career, in working in tech, but they're really interested in making a difference. So this social impact accelerator allows them to do all those wonderful things with AI and ML, but also do social good. Okay, so that's why I believe that we can keep that talent here. And more importantly, also attract talent from all around the world, because we'll have that unique secret sauce that nobody else besides Alberta will be offering. So, how will the accelerator work? Our cohorts are designed to support up to 20 companies per cohort. We've already started, and we've got, I think, 15 or 16 right now that have applied. I actually went through it just last night, and I can tell you, as an investor, I've invested in about 110 companies around the world. I would invest in every one of those 16. They are that good, and they've applied. So, don't know if they'll get in. That's not my call. But I'm really excited to see the interest in this accelerator. So 20 companies per cohort, and we're going to do about 5 cohorts throughout the 4 years. Also, what we're doing is launching a social impact fund. Okay, so this is now an ability for investors like myself that want to invest in companies. We want a financial return, but we also want a social impact return, and it's going to be measurable. We're not just going to say we've delivered social. We're actually going to measure it. We're using an index called the SPI, the Social Progress Imperative, which is done by the United Nations. It's part of their SDG. So we're going to be measuring, and Alberta already has that done. ATB has done that. So we want to raise Alberta from X to Y, and we'll be able to measure it with that. So finally, in closing, I would like Alberta to be known for various things. for our energy excellence, for our inclusiveness. But I also want it to be known as the place where we solved some of the world's most pressing community problems using technology, using artificial intelligence and machine learning, and we did it in a way that was scalable, taking it to other places around the world. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. With that, we've concluded the formal speaking portion of our event. We have some journalists in the queue, and I believe we have one reporter on the in-person here. So we'll start on the floor, and then we'll move to the queue. Please, if you're on the floor here, please identify your name and your outlet and who you'd like to ask.
Sure, it's Jeremy Thompson here with CTV Edmonton. I'll just peek around this pillar. I believe, Asif, I just had a couple of questions for you. Bring it back up here again. I'm just wondering what more you can say about what sorts of ideas are coming forward. You know, when we have these, innovation talks, it always seems fairly ambiguous what we're actually talking about. What are some of the ideas you're hearing that you're excited about?
Sure. So several things. In domestic violence, as an example, there are platforms out there that look at data coming in from dentist visits, as an example. So if you're going to the dentist more than you should be going under normal circumstances, and you're going into the ER, as an example, okay, that's an early indication that something might be wrong. Okay, not saying there is, but something might be wrong. When that data is brought forward, because we know with domestic violence, the issue is that it doesn't get reported early enough. It's often too late. This allows for that early indicator. So that's one platform using technology, using artificial intelligence, et cetera, to say there might be something that we need to look at here. That's one example.
Right, and so with that example, how does, what's being announced today make that happen better or faster or in more places?
Yeah, so what will happen is we will be able to provide that data in a very clean, sanitized, and unidentifiable way. Right? So that you're respecting privacy, you're respecting ethics, you're doing all that wonderful stuff, and then allowing that technology platform to try out their models to say, how real is it? Because we can look at back data. We know the folks that have gone through that, domestic violence. So we can look at that data and say, okay, does your model work? What's the accuracy level? Is it at over 90% predictability, et cetera? So we can do that, and they can refine it, and then they can roll that out.
Right, and sorry, that was my second follow-up, but that sort of eventually builds to, some sort of company that folks like yourself can further invest in and build, hey?
Exactly. I mean, that's something that, we can roll out, that entity can roll out around the world, right? Because domestic violence is prevalent, in many places around the world. So again, we can help society, we can help, in terms of helping the people that are impacted, we can help them overcome this.
Thanks, Jeremy. With that, we'll move to the phone queue. Operator, can you please put through our first caller?
Catherine Gragowski, Alberta Today. Hi, thanks. This is some questions for Minister Schweitzer. So the government line when the UCP first came to government was that they're not in the business of picking winners and losers, and now you've recognized that there's a value in innovation. So what do you tell the laissez-faire fiscal hawk types in your caucus about what value taxpayers are getting for their money when you invest in tech accelerators?
I think all I would mention to my colleagues that are in this space that I would say some folks there always is a healthy amount of skepticism in life. I'd say look at the results. Look at the growth in venture capital in Alberta over the last 3 years in particular. We've broken a record every year over the last 3 years in venture capital. You're seeing successful companies grow in scale in our province. We're attracting major investment from not just national platforms. You've got RBC's Innovation Hub is now being set up in the city of Calgary. We've got the Amazon Web Services investment that's coming here. You've got mCloud, which is a publicly listed company, moving their headquarters from Vancouver to Alberta. So you're consistently seeing win after win after win, and success breeds more success. With what we're doing here today with this accelerator investment, this isn't a matter of picking winners and losers. This is about investing in talent development. Whereas historically, a lot of this would have been done through a conventional post-secondary program or through the labor ministry. What we're seeing here today is that these entrepreneurs, the scaling, speed, and velocity that can happen here is just different than any other industry that we've historically had in Alberta. And they need that support to help them scale and grow faster and compete globally and getting their ideas and their products out there to global customers.
Do you have a follow-up, Catherine?
Yeah, and I'm trying to anticipate what the opposition might say. They might point out that it does, in fact, take a healthy funding of post-secondary institutions. And I'm thinking of something like The Alchemist, who's eventually wanting to commercialize, the gamification of racial bias testing. So how do these funding cuts square with the customer? How does a municipality who's trying to cut administrative costs then turn around and pay for some of these products?
Well, I think the biggest thing here, I think there's a lot of alignment between all levels of government and trying to find efficiencies, trying to find better ways to solve complex problems across every department. I've had the fortune of being the Justice Minister and Solicitor General for Alberta before I took on this role. And one of the things that we looked at is how do we get more cases dealt with efficiently in our court system? We were still fax filing documentation in Alberta. We had many cases coming through our court system that could have been handled more efficiently in an administrative tribunal. So every single ministry is looking to become more creative and find solutions. Another example of that is in our health ministry. Right now, they're looking at developing a data strategy to, further to other comments here about complex problem solving and trying to find connections. There's an immense amount of ways that you can apply artificial intelligence and machine learning and test different strategies, test to make sure that they're real to solve these problems. That'll also provide better outcomes and enhance, improving quality of life, saving lives. But it also has that scalability of a potential business and a company that can provide that service worldwide. So right now with what we're trying to accomplish here with this announcement is giving entrepreneurs the ability to bring their ideas forward, get that right mentorship, scale, get their customers, access capital, so we can solve complex problems, everything from social challenges to government challenges to business challenges.
Thanks, Catherine. Operator, can you please put through our next caller?
Michelle Bellefontaine, CBC.
Hi, this is a question for Minister Schweitzer. I have a news release here from September 23rd, 2021 from Alberta Innovate, which is announcing what it appears to be the same thing you're announcing today. What's new about today's announcement?
Well, what we're announcing today, the announcement that we did in September was a very high-level announcement. We were hoping to do a conference at that point in time, but with the fourth wave of the pandemic, the conference was deferred. So we had the announcement. We had to roll it out because we had to get the money flowing out there and start raising awareness to bring companies into these accelerator programs. As you've already mentioned, many of these ones already have that jump on getting companies into the queue and into their cohorts. With what we're doing here today, this is the more formal announcement where we're able to bring people together, raise awareness around this initiative, and tell the amazing story that's happening across Alberta's technology and innovation space.
Michelle, do you have a follow-up?
So I just want to be clear, Minister, that there is nothing new today. You just wanted to have an event to announce it. Is that fair?
Michelle, there's a lot new here today that's being announced. What was rolled out there with a press release earlier in September, that was just an announcement so we could actually get the wheels of funding flowing, get these vehicles going. What you're seeing here today is an immense amount of hard work that's gone in here literally for about a year behind the scenes, coming in the culmination of investments that are happening across 3 levels of government, numerous enterprises across this province, building in a more coordinated way than we've ever had before in Alberta. So I would say that while I know the media every now and again has some healthy skepticism in life, I would say there's an immense amount of progress has been made, and it's exciting to get these formally launched out there into the world.
Thanks, Michelle. And with that, that's everyone in the queue, so thank you, everyone.